Hi, welcome to video 6.4 on the inverse of linear functions. So previously we did inverse functions, and you may remember or maybe not that we just switched the x and y values for our coordinate pairs. So we're going to take a look at also how to do that algebraically. So first we're going to review what we did last time. So we have this line right here, which is represented right here, and so we're going to write down the point values that we see on this line. So like this one right here is -1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is -1, -6, and then this is 0, -4, and then this is 1, -2, and then 2, 0, 3, 2, and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. So what we're going to do for the inverse right here, inverse, is we're going to just switch our x and y. So this one would be -6, -1, -4, 0, -2, 1, 0, 2, 2, 3, and then 4, 4. And then we're just going to graph it to see what it looks like. So I've got -6, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -6, and then -1, and then -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, -2, 1, 0, 2, 2, 3, and then 4, 4. So it looks like that right there. And then what do we notice about the function and its inverse with respect to f of x equals x right here? And that is that f of x and the inverse of f of x are reflections over f of x equals x. So that just means that this acts like our mirror. So it's like there's a mirror right here, or there's a fold line, and everything here shows up exactly on the opposite side of f of x equals x right there. So if we wanted to change this to a function, the function of the inverse in slope-intercept form, so our slope, if I'm looking here, I make my little stair steps. The rise is 1 and the run is 2. So that's going to be 1 divided by 2. And then it's positive, because if I run my finger along it from left to right, my finger is going up. So that's my slope. And then my b is the y-intercept. So that's at 2 right here. So my formula, or my equation, is going to be y equals 1/2 x plus 2. Excuse me. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at how to do that algebraically, and here are our steps. We just switch f of x to y, and that's just to aid in solving. Basically, it gets confusing if I use f of x and x instead of an x and a y. Then I'm going to switch my x and y, since all my x and y values switch. Solve for y, so we want to say y equals, and then we're going to change the y back to f of x. So I'm going to do a couple of them. I'm going to do this one, and then you are going to try the other ones. So step 1, we're going to change f of x to y. Then we're going to switch x and y, so y becomes x becomes y, and then I want to solve for this y. I want to get that y by itself, so I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So now I have x plus 5 equals 4y, divide both sides by 4, and so then I have 1/4 x plus 5/4 equals y. I'm going to change that to f of x. So 1/4 x plus 5/4. Just like that. And I'm going to do one more. So this one, we're going to switch that f of x to y, and then switch my x and my y, and then solve for y. So subtract 4 from both sides. So now I have x minus 4 equals 2/5 y, going to multiply both sides by 5. Make sure you're multiplying the whole left side of the equation. So now I have 5x minus 20 equals 2y. Divide both sides by 2. And so now I have 5/2 x minus 10 equals y. I'm going to rewrite that as f of x equals 5/2 x minus 10. Okay, you go ahead and pause the video and try the other two, and then come back and take a look at the answers. Okay, there are your answers. And you could have yours in decimals if you want to instead of fractions. It's just usually easier to keep it in fractions. It's okay to have improper fractions if you need to. All right, moving back to the questions at the bottom. If the y-intercept of a linear function is 8, then we know which of the following about its inverse. So remember, here I'll kind of sketch a little example here. So my y-intercept is 8, so it's like up here. Remember, here is my mirror, y equals x, and so on the mirror it's going to be on the other side here, as if I fold this in half. So that means that its x-intercept is going to be 8 when we're talking about the inverse. Okay, given the general linear equation, find an equation for its inverse in terms of m and b. So our slope and our y-intercept, what would be the first step in solving this equation? Well, first, as we are doing with any trying to solve the function for its inverse, we're going to switch x and y. So it looks like this. X equals my plus b. And now we're just going to solve for y. So down here I have, I'm going to subtract b from both sides. So now I have x minus b equals my. Then divide both sides by m. So now I have 1 over mx minus b over m, or b divided by m, equals y. And then can switch that around this way if you want to. If you want your y first, 1 over mx minus b over m, or b divided by m. Okay, and that's your formula. If you have an equation in slope-intercept form, you can just use your current m and your b to find your new inverse if you would like to. All right, jot down any questions you have, and we'll talk about them in class.